I pushed my husband away and he left. My name is Paul Friedman. I founded the Marriage Foundation. And you're expressing a fair amount of wisdom by recognizing that he didn't just leave, that you actually pushed him away. So let's talk about what we do now. The good news is this. We are normally pretty forgiving people. That's just part of our human nature. And when we get married, we're really invested. I mean, let's face it, it's the biggest decision we've ever made in our lives. So we're really invested in making our marriages work, notwithstanding all the nonsense that comes from people who go, well, you could always get a divorce, blah, blah, blah. Those people are fools. Those are the people who justify their behavior and don't want to change. They're not willing to look at themselves, which you have already done. You have taken the first step. You have looked at your own behavior and you recognize that you pushed your husband away. It's a big first step because you're seeing cause and effect. You're realizing that there is a law in operation here, that for every action, it's not just in material physics, but it's in life. For every action, there's a reaction. Now, you got that far. You, in your mind, go, I pushed him away. But it's not entirely fair for you to take so much negative credit, which they call blame, for pushing him away. Because you didn't know how to be married. Let's also be realistic about this. Everyone complains about growing up and going to a worthless educational system that doesn't even teach us how to balance checkbooks. But it's much worse than that. Our educational system doesn't teach us anything about life, about ourselves, about our psyche. The few people who are struggling and they want to go on, take courses in psychology, and they still don't learn anything. They learn how to identify psychological diseases by virtue of symptoms, so they could name things, but they really don't understand how the mind works. They don't understand how relationships work. They don't understand that the mind is not the main component, and this is the big problem. They don't understand that the mind is not the main component in a relationship. Think about that. The mind is not the main component in a relationship. Well, then what is? Well, this is beautiful. And I'm telling you this not to tease you, but to let you know that there's more than just hope for you and your husband. The main component is you as a soul, him as a soul. Love. It's love. You got married because you loved your husband. That was the big hurdle. There were other aspects to him that told you he was someone you could love. And so you gave your love to him. But you had no real guidance. It's such high-level stuff. It needs to be broken down. When you break it down, when you really understand yourself as a soul who has a mind, it's a possession, when you understand your husband as a soul who has a mind, and both of you have individual bodies of different genders, so you need to learn that too. And then you learn how to build the love and not just coexist, not just exist together, not just see what happens, but have a plan. It doesn't have to be a plan, okay, today I'm going to do this and tomorrow we'll do that. But there has to be some structure. You're living in a marriage, and your marriage is not over just because he left. You're living in a marriage. It's a something, and that something has a texture. It has a schematic. It's constructed in such a way. And when you understand it, you could make it, because we're organic, make it grow. So what do you do? First of all, let me assure you that in most cases, now some of you are coming 6 months later and going, what do I do? I haven't talked to him for 6 months. He won't talk to me. You have no kids. There's no communication. And you're going, what do I do? And there's nothing I know of that you can do. But in most cases, he's just left. There's still communication. The love still exists. Even though you pushed him away, you can change yourself. And this is very, 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 very important. You got to change yourself, not just your behavior. I explain it this way. You have a dog. Let's pretend you had a dog. You could train it, and dogs love meat. They especially love cooked meat. And you've trained your dog to not grab for the meat when you hold it in front of him until you give the word. You've trained him, but he'll always be a dog. So that training, if you don't maintain it, will slip. But if you were able to turn that dog into a different kind of creature that didn't crave meat, then you'll get the behavior of that new creature. So you, who has a mind, are loaded down with all of these habits, many of which are great. Unfortunately, a number of them are far less than great. And those are the habitual behaviors that pushed him away. You, the soul, didn't push him away, but your reactive mind pushed him away. So you need to retrain that mind, and that takes a very special kind of effort, which we include in our course for women and our course for men, for when men come to us. So what am I saying here? I'm saying that you could learn all about marriage from either of my books. You could subscribe to this channel, and you should, so you get a sense of marriage. This is free, and you get a sense of marriage from a lot of different perspectives. But because your husband has already left, your marriage is in emergency mode, and you need to do something now. And the first thing you need to do is learn how to train your mind and retrain your mind so that from the outside, you're a different person. And from the inside, you're a happier person. Look, you have a mind. You're a soul. Your joy is innate to you because you're a soul, but you're not feeling joy all the time because no one taught us that it's right there within us. And so we become dependent on outer stimulation for our happiness. And what happens with our outer stimulation that is not conducive to happiness makes us feel miserable. We become slaves to the mind. Your husband too. But you can do this on your own. You don't have to go to your husband and say, look, I found this great organization, the Marriage Foundation, and they can help us. Don't do that. That is not my advice. My advice is that you take this on. You change. You become calm, happy, straighten yourself out, and in a fairly short time, start slowly communicating with him. In fact, now hold back and learn enough so that you don't keep pushing him away. That should be your mantra. I'm not going to push him away. I'm going to attract him. I'm not going to badger him, why did you leave? I'm not going to ask him, what do you need? I'm going to take responsibility, and I'm going to make myself into this wonderful woman who he cannot stay away from. That's the mission. Does this work? We've been around a long time. Thousands of successes. Read the reviews. So you could see that this system works. What does not work is marriage counseling, which unfortunately we've been trained to go to marriage counseling where they disrupt marriages and kill the chances for reconciliation, for revitalizing your marriage. My philosophy is very simple. You got married in order to be happy, happier every single day than the day before. That's why you got married. You didn't get married for a mundane existence. You got married for a glorious existence. And you got married to experience unconditional love, which is really hard to find in the world. It's not really there in the world. So, this is a wake-up call. See it as a wake-up call. Do what you need to do to change everything, and it'll work. I'm going to leave you with that. Like the video, leave a comment. Hopefully it'll be a comment of, oh my God, I did what you said and everything is amazing and I'm taking the course and my life is like I've never even imagined, because that's what would happen. Other than that, blessings to you. Get out of fear. Do something instead of being fearful. Blessings to your husband and your family. God bless and take care. Thank you for spending time with me.